Good afternoon, friends and traders. Welcome to the Market Recap. I am Dan Hodgman. It is Tuesday, October 6th. It's good to see all you guys. I do apologize for yesterday not being here. I was stuck managing a trade of my own, and I couldn't really take my eyes off of things. I'm sure you guys totally get how that one goes. So, started out kind of a quiet day. You can short the highs, buy those settlement prices, and all of a sudden we started to take off to the races and news hit the blotter. Everything came tumbling down. Holy cow, that was a big move. But we've been saying this for weeks now. The stimulus package, the stimulus talks is the news that we all have to keep an eye on. It's the market changing news. And that was exactly the case here today. Cannot stress it enough. We have to constantly keep an eye on the news. Even if you're not trading that news, to watch what's happening. I will sit here and say, have news apps on your phone, notifications on. I think I got that notification before I started to notice the market slipping. It came really quick. So here's just a couple news apps you can put on your phone. If you have an iPhone, you can just turn on Apple News notifications. That's one of them. You can put on Wall Street Journal. If you have a Wall Street Journal account, you can turn on those notifications. CNBC, totally free. You can turn on those notifications. Fox News, you can turn on those notifications. CNN News, you can turn on those notifications. There are countless different ones out there. All tend to come out pretty darn quickly. This one, CNBC, was the first one to send me a notification, and then the rest just started to follow. I keep all of them on for occasions like this. The last thing we wanted to do was be long in that trade and have it go against us without us recognizing what was happening. So it's just caution. Precautionary things we want to be keeping an eye on as we trade. Pretty wild. Yes, Tanya, Bloomberg, really quick as well. There's so many out there. Find a news source. Get the app. Put it on your phone. Turn those notifications on. Because even when we are in the middle of managing a trade, we're not paying attention to the TV. We're not scrolling through Twitter. But if you have a cell phone sitting right there and you turn those notifications on, it'll pop up. I've got a watch. I got the iWatch, and they all connect. They all talk to me, and maybe I'm a little too connected sometimes, but it works. Those are things we want to be paying attention to. And here's a little insight. I've been doing this. I was one of the younger guys on the floor, and I was all about the notifications. I thought the notifications were better, and there were a couple opportunities that I had an edge on the guys in the pit because I had the notifications coming to my phone. They were watching the boards down on the floor, and those were a little bit more delayed than what I was getting on my phone. Pretty quiet, pretty wild. All right, I just want to say hello to everybody. Felix, Christopher, Tanya, Sarah, James. Yes, crazy day in the S&P. A lot of new names here. Glad to have everyone here. Excited to see your names coming through. Norman, good to see you. Sean, Daniel, great name. Tanya Bloomberg, yep. Bazinga. Null 065, Financial Juice. Great idea. If any of you guys have any options or news sources that you like to use that you think are pretty quick, drop them in the comments so we can all share. We can all kind of help each other out here. Be great. Dream Team Institutional. Go Bears. Bear down. We had a rough weekend here this weekend. Hopefully we'll be back on next Sunday with a nice big victory. Hello. Good to see you. LT, good to see you. And Rob, good to see you guys. Yes, the interview is bringing people in. Made a boat in your personal account. Way to go, level 2. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Take a look at our charts here and see what we had. Obviously, like I kind of said a minute ago, click the right buttons here. Like I said a minute ago, these markets were relatively quiet all day long other than crude oil until the news hit. So let's start with our crude oil here. We pretty much opened up pretty darn close to those highs. What I like about our highs is they came towards some previous swing high areas. Market started to find that resistance. If we were to kind of look back here, we started to see a little consolidation more towards the 40.60 price point, which is right where we opened up. We really continuously failed all day. We made multiple attempts to push higher, never got there. Market started to break. Rolled over. Buyers came in right at that overnight consolidation area. We start to look at volume. Let's just open up our profile here, get an idea. We had pretty darn good volume down here below prior to the open. Market found a little bit of support there. Bounced right back towards that high. 40.60 was what we were looking back prior. Matter of fact, almost to a T to prior swing highs all the way up here. And then the news hit. I think we can look at all these markets and know exactly where that news hit and the sell-off really took off. So we kind of double-topped it here today. The overnight's going to be interesting. Will this thing continue to roll over? And do we go start to find last night's settlement price all the way down here by 39.22? Or does the crude oil market say enough's enough? We've had enough of these sell-offs. We need to see this thing continue higher. Time's going to tell. Next, let's look at the S&P 500. So market continued to, I'll be honest with you, I took some short here this morning on the open. I broke it down towards settlement price. Settlement price, don't forget, 33.93 even, right down here. I took that short. I got out of it. I was kind of bummed. I said, man, I should have stayed in. It gave me another 6 points, but no, I got my target. I got the heck out of it. And the next thing I was looking at, I was literally in the middle of typing to a couple guys here at the office. I said, I'm watching 34.20. I think it could be an opportunistic area. I'm not tooting my own horn here. I was in the middle of typing it. I stopped typing it, totally forgot, but I was saying 32.20. If we get through 32.20, we got a ton of room all the way, or 34.20, we got a ton of room all the way up to 3,500. Not happening. The news changed everything. Stimulus package, stimulus talks are done until after the election, and boom. Market broke. We are 80-point move so far with still a couple more minutes to go. Market really a strong sell-off. To be honest with you, the only way you were in this trade is if you were in it from the get-go. If you missed it, be careful trying to jump in on a news-based event like this. Volatility screamed higher here. Next, let's go ahead and look at the NASDAQ, which, just like the S&P 500, was having a hard time getting over those overnight highs. Market broke on the news, and the sell-off ensued. So, something I want to point out here, which I started to find kind of interesting, if we open up our volume profile here, oops, it must have gone a little further back. So when we bring our volume profile and we start to open this thing up, I found it quite interesting that this market on the initial move lower came right down towards that value area low. I was sitting here and I had an old profile on, I believe it was right here. And I had this profile on over the last week. If you guys watch the Three Amigos, I do a ton of stuff trying to look at the week as a whole. And when I was looking at some of my levels on, and I can't find my card. Nonetheless, so I had this profile on here. Market came and hunted it down, and I'm curious to see do we see this 11,300 area start to hold, or are we accepting below, and does this thing continue to break to the downside? I'll be curious to watch how this one plays out. Next, let's take a look at the gold. Gold, just like the rest of them, lower, 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 but gold has spent the entire day essentially moving lower. We first kind of started to stall out around 1908. From there, made it look like buyers wanted to come in, news came out. And this is just a panic sell right now. So we are still in that emotional time post this news, waiting for the reaction to the news, reaction to the emotion right now. So everyone's just kind of sitting tight, waiting to determine, pulling money out of everything, waiting to see where we're going to start to buy things up for some safety. That'll be the biggest question. Where does the money go? We're seeing it come out of everything. Lastly, let's take a look at these currencies and we'll get the heck on out of here. Just like gold, the euro was struggling all morning. It made some attempts through that overnight session, but really, as soon as the U.S. session opened, the sellers came in, overpowered this thing, and just like the rest of them, the sell-off happened at 1:30 Central Time. The market broke, just like all these markets, except for, oh, wait, the yen. The yen got a little bit of life at 1:30, but still, things are really tight. So if you guys remember a couple weeks ago, I started to kind of look at this channel. I boxed it out, so I'm starting to bring this channel, continue it with each and every trading day. And it's really hard not to look for opportunities within this channel. We came down to the low side here. There's a great opportunity to get into the trade. Again, these ranges are really tight. This is like when the bonds are barely moving, extremely tight ranges. We kind of just have to sit here, be cautious, find those entry points with very minimal risk if you're trading the yen. So this market, buyers kind of tried to get it up there all day, and then the last hour here, 45 minutes, we have started to sell off just a little bit. Where I'm going to be looking, if the overnight session, the buyers do come in, where I'm going to be looking is this 94.93 up to about 94.95. It's just a little bit of a gap. I'm going to look to see if this market tries to get up here and closes this gap out. That's where I'm going to be paying attention at this, if the market goes higher. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to look for a little bit of support down this by this 65 level. Awesome. All right, everybody. Those are our markets here today. Let's see here. Got some questions. Hey, Hoag, good to see you. All right, so. Level 2. Sorry to hear about the pro account. Perfect, Hoag. Are you going to be... Hoag has dropped that link into these. If not, we can drop it into the comments later. I'm excited about that webinar. It is with Dr. Menaker. We have seen some of his stuff here on our YouTube page, bringing some more of that stuff in. Home moving average crossed to the downside on the daily this morning. I didn't get short, but I'll be watching that in future. Awesome, Tanya. Felix, Dan, watched the coach's playbook earlier. Would be great to take on the last idea from Mick regarding conversation, how you fill out your cards, and other insights from you guys. Thanks for the feedback, Felix. I would be more than happy to. And I'll give you a quick little brief of what I do. So right here is going to be one of my weeklies that I look at on the week, S&P 500. I'm looking at the prior week ranges, just writing those down. I'm writing, okay, what's that range look like? What's been the trend in that market? I'm talking about a couple levels that I'm paying attention to. So we'll definitely break these things down going forward. Would be more than happy to do it. Jonathan, is there an automatic indicator for settlement price? Depends on what platform you're using. If you're using TS Trader, there is not an automatic in there. You can always have, it's always in your quote boards. So every platform you have, there is an option to add a column for settlement price within your quote boards. TS Trader does not have the capability, but some platforms do, I believe. NinjaTrader does. T4 does. There's quite a few out there that do, and then there's some that don't. So a lot of options out there. And all right, guys. If there's no more questions, I think that's what we got here today. We got a long week ahead of us. It is only Tuesday, so we got a long week ahead. Other news that we should think about is we lost Eddie Van Halen today. He lost a long battle with cancer, so thoughts go to him and his family. We are all, I don't think there's anyone that's not really a big fan of Van Halen. So Hoag, I know you're a big Van Halen guy. So Eddie Van Halen just passed away a little bit ago. President Trump is back at the White House. The news came from him. He is putting a halt on stimulus talks. They just are not coming to an agreement there. Norman, can you add bonds to the forecast recap? Definitely something John and I can talk about for sure. Be happy to. You, good to see you. Yes, R.I.P. Eddie Van Halen. All right, so that's our major news here. But as we have been doing since, well, I've been working from home, Tesla still holding above 400. Broke here this afternoon. Opened up at 425, broke down to about 410, and closing out the day right around 414. And then the other one we've been keeping an eye on, which to no surprise, we saw a little spike here this afternoon. The VIX. VIX is up at 29.2. Started a little bit lower here today, below 28, but obviously the big news sends in volatility. And like we said last week during Coach's Playbook, volatility breeds opportunity if you're on the right side of things. And as John always says, if you're on the right side, you never have enough. If you're on the wrong side, you always have too many on. All right. Other than that, economic calendar tomorrow. Crude oil number at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. We got a couple Fed speaking. And FOMC minutes tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. Central Time. They are minutes, not interest rates or statement there. Had a brain fart. So that's tomorrow. Also, again, tomorrow, John's webinar with Dr. Menaker, 3:15. So I'll make sure to get the recap over as quickly as right beforehand so we can all shoot over there and go give it a listen. But remember, it is first come, first serve. I think we are maxed out at 100 guests. So make sure you sign up and get in there and check it out. I think it's always great content. And then other than that, let's just take a quick glance at this date in history. I found the first one kind of interesting. 1866 was the first ever U.S. train robbery. Took place. We had a couple other ones that are worthwhile. This one kind of puts things, I think, into perspective right now. 2020 has just been kind of a wild year. In 1961, President Kennedy urged all Americans to build out bomb shelters. I can honestly say I'm pretty grateful. I have not had the recommendation to go in the backyard, dig a hole, and build a bomb shelter. So for me, kind of put some things into perspective. And then the last one, 1926, Babe Ruth sets a World Series record by hitting 3 home runs against the St. Louis Cardinals in the 4th game of the World Series. Other than that, guys, that's what I got. John will be back here tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central Time. Until then, stay safe, wash your hands, trade well. I look forward to seeing you guys in the markets. Take care, everybody.